Hiya, I'm Jason from Jason's Jungle, and today we're going to have a walk around the jungle plot and well, show you the difference now from when I first took over. Not much really. Okay, so let's get on with it. When I was first offered the jungle, there was 3 plots available. One quite nice, pristine, they'd just moved off. Another a bit overgrown, but still quite good. And then this one, plot number 3. It had junk all over the place, it had drills buried in the bed, it had makeup remover buried in the beds, glass all over the place. So, like the madman I am, I decided to go with option 3. And after a lot of work, it's sort of improved a bit, and this is what has become Jason's Jungle. Here's the gate. They're made out of arches, the gates, but this is the main one. Going over here in summer, you'll find all the blackberries, and I get loads of flower, loads of fruit, and looks absolutely gorgeous as well. It's tasting absolutely gorgeous. So I just had to turn my mic round. To the right as we come in, I have a comfrey bed. It produces loads of comfrey juice, which I just basically the concentrate, so it's packed down with no water. The next bed along is Joan J raspberries. So these are the autumn fruiting ones, so I cut them all back and hopefully get loads again in autumn. And I've got my summer raspberries, Tulamine. Although the summer raspberries, they don't seem to know, and they do summer and autumn, and you know, masses and masses of raspberries. On the other side, there's boxes of bamboo I'm trying to get rid of, but here's my 3 black currant bushes. I was tempted to get rid of them because there's nothing much we're doing, but then discovered homemade black currant cordial, absolutely fantastic, and blackcurrant gin, just as good. So those 2 alone, 1 to 3 bushes, plus the other 2 I planted the other month. I have a bag full of grass ready to go up on stuff to go on the compost bin. And here is a mini orchard. It's a 10-foot by 4-foot bed. There's 12 trees planted, rows are planted 2 foot apart, and individual bushes are planted 1.5 feet apart. There's 7 apples, 2 pears, 2 plums and a cherry. Now the cherry and the apples produced this year, small but lovely harvest, and hopefully the rest will start producing soon. Down here at the end we have a Himalayan honeysuckle. It produces berries that have a treacly, chocolatey flavour. Not everyone likes them, which is good because it doesn't produce many at a time. White flowers and the red bracts, absolutely gorgeous. It only produces a couple of fruit ripe at a time, so it's all like a hunt and a treat than a crop. Then I have, down here, I have my honeyberry bushes. 2 of them, a couple of years old. Hopefully they'll start producing a reasonable crop. If not, I'll have to look at something else to go in there. In front of them I have a wall of chives, which looks completely horrid at this time of year, but when it's in full glory it is wonderful. Okay, so that's the front parlour. Let's have a wander into the main section. These strawberries have produced tons this year. They'll probably come out next year and split up. It's massively cramped and overgrown, and yeah, it'll be the fourth year, yeah, or is it the 5th year? No, the 4th year that they've been in. So I'll replace them in the end of next year with probably get early, mids and late, so it crops out through the season rather than one type. If we move on to the next bed, this had me giant pumpkins, and I had 2 giant pumpkins plants. Got 2 giant pumpkins, 60 and 62 pound. One went to the food bank, to the people's kitchen on Halloween so they could make soup, and the other is going to be feeding me for the rest of the year. This is the bed I put the beans in the other day. So the first half of the bed has aqua dulce. It looks like something's had a little scratch in there. And the next half of the bed will be filled up next year with crimson flowered. Moving on here, you've got these 4 great stalk-like plants. These are my skirret. These produce a root that's supposed to be sweet. It's got a slight carroty, sweetish flavour that looks like a face on out of Aliens. The other thing in the bed we have is salsify. Now the 62-pound pumpkin from the last bed decided to grow bang smack in the middle of this, so I'm surprised I have any. I couldn't get in because of the leaves of the pumpkin to thin them out, but they seem to be growing strong. Everything else, carrots and parsnips, everything just died off. And there's still a few leeks in here from last year. These died down, growing back from bulbs. We'll move on to the next bed. Now these aren't normal leeks. These are a leek called Upri. It's a European type of leek grown in Holland, the Netherlands, in Belgium and Luxembourg, and it's not grown mainly for the leaves, it's grown for the bulbs at the bottom, which are officially called brood balls, which is a weird name, but that's what they're called. So it's more related to things like Babington leek and elephant garlic than the annual leek, but it's smaller than the annual leek. But as I said, it's eaten mostly for the bulbs at the bottom. And if we look right at the end, we can see in yellow flower the scorzonera. Now scorzonera is a perennial plant, so it'll come back every year if you let it. Now I've dug these out twice. I've went down on several things and dug out to about 2 foot, and they're still coming back. So they have long roots, and if you want a perennial root veg, that's your man. Now the chard's lovely, it's gorgeous. Bits bolted, and the rest is going down quite healthily and quite eaten. I've been under orders to harvest some of that when I go home. There's a couple of bits of kale in here, but they got sort of ravaged by pigeons earlier in the year. We've got 2 long beds. This was where I had courgettes, cucumbers, and another Atlantic giant pumpkin. And this is where I had sweet potatoes. Not a big crop, but I got a small crop out of it. But again, if we look here, you can see this one has been dug out 3 years in a row, and it doesn't mind, it's coming into flower. You know, so it's nice to have a little bit of flower in it this time of year, but there's always going to be scorzonera there. So you can see there's more scorzonera here. So that's 3 different places. It's been planted once and grown back many times. This bed had my sweet corn in. It's now just basically been covered with grass and straw, and will be just left for the autumn. Moving on to the next bed. This is oca, which is a South American root vegetable. It's an oxalis, so it's related towards sorrel, and you can see with the leaves that are on there, they've got the 3 lobes similar to that, and the leaves do have a lemony flavour. They're edible, but the main crop is the root system. So underneath these dying, fading stems will be small tubers that will hopefully be sucking the juices down from the stems and swelling up. Once it's all died back, I'll wait a little while to make sure it gets everything, and then I will dig up this bed. Now here we have another bed, a mishmash bed. Things didn't grow this year until months after they were sown. So I've got young parsnips there, fennel, there's looks like salad burnet, there's radicchio in there, there's chervil, all sorts of things. But for some reason nothing grew until about 3 or 4 months after I sown them, and they all came back. There was yakka in this bed that died off, which I planted after. And at the back there we have a relative of the station was Mashua. Now this will produce roots again that will be edible. Apparently they don't taste too good raw, very peppery and nasturtiony, but they're supposed to be good cooked. Again, I'll wait till the foliage dies down a bit because they swell up around this time of year, so the roots will be underneath, taking up the goodness of the rest of the plant, and when it's died down I'll dig it all up. You can see that that's now grown up my hedge of gooseberries. So I've got about 9 gooseberry plants in there, trained as triple cordons. Then there's a kiwi fruit in the centre. Flowers last year but no fruit. And next to that we've got some red currants. And then we have, probably not be able to see it, but a grapevine. Got a few small grapes off of it this year. I'm not too sure which one it is because it was supposed to be white and it came out of black. It could be books up. Go away. And then there's a couple more red currants. And at the back we've got the area that I'm currently working on. I've had harvests of Christmas decorations, old tools, junks, tapes, everything just out of this. So they used to have I won't say a greenhouse, but it wasn't a greenhouse here, and that's just been taken down, burnt already. You can see it's in a bit of a disarray, but I do have 3 compost bins. Now these compost bins, last year 2 of them were being used as my fire pit, because I had lots to burn, but this year I have manure, which is rotten down, and that should hopefully produce a decent amount of compost for next year. And then the next 2 I have compost that is breaking down. This one has been left for a while. This one's the newest pile that I'll be adding to later on. Okay, so that is the jungle. Thanks for watching, thanks for sticking with us. I know it's a state, it needs to be tidied up, which I'll be getting on with, but it's a productive plot and I enjoyed time down here. So until next time, I'll see you later.